been around for about 28 days now. When I get it home, I'm going to have to give it an oil change. This is the second time I've been on stage, believe it or not. The first time was 2 weeks ago, right over there, doing the Make This Bed thing. I don't know, maybe some of you have seen it. I don't know if you've seen it on TV or not. But after that showing, I went down, the next day I was walking down the hallway, and a little old lady stops me and says, "I saw you on TV today." I said, "You look really good." I said, "Well, thank you." She says, can I give you some criticism? I said, "Yeah. Have you ever considered going to Hollywood?" And I said, "Well, no, I haven't." She said, "You should. The walk will do you good." Brings to another story. About 2 months ago, or 2 or 3 months ago, my wife and I went over to get her signed up in a health club. And as she was taking the tour of the health club, I just sat there waiting for her. And they had this electronic weight machine sitting there, and it spoke to you, okay? And anytime somebody got on it, it would tell them their weight. First person got on it, and it says, "You weigh 127 pounds." Next person gets on it, and it says, "You weigh 230 pounds." Next person got on it, "You weigh 147 pounds." I thought, this is pretty cool. I gotta check this out. So I stepped on it, and it says, "One person at a time, please." I don't know how many of you people swam the Panama Canal. I did. I'm sure some of you have too. But it reminded me of my youth. When I used to skinny dip. Yeah, I used to skinny dip when I was younger, believe it or not. I don't skinny dip anymore, I chunky dunk.
Oh, chunky dunk.
One thing I'd like to say, you know, last Sunday was Mother's Day, and it got me remembering my mom. And let me tell you, this is a true story, actually happened. After my dad passed away, she moved my grandmother, 90-year-old grandmother, in to live with her. Well, one day my mom was coming down the steps, and she tripped and did a header right in the banister, got her head stuck in the banister, and she couldn't back out because of her ears. So,
true story.
True story, honest to God, true story. So she's stuck in here with her ears in the bars, so she yells to my grandmother, "Call 911. My grandmother says, "What's the number?" One day I was sitting with my mom and we were talking, reminiscing about my dad, and we were just sitting there talking, and my mom was talking about my dad, and now she's starting to get a little hot under the collar because she's starting to remember things that he used to annoy her with. So she's becoming more annoyed, and then she says, "You know what? When I die and go to heaven, I'm gonna tell him a thing or two." So I said, "Mom, suppose he didn't go to heaven?" She looks up at me and says, "Then you tell him." You know, I've been on this ship 28 days now, and I've had my share of cocktails. I'm not a cocktail drinker, okay? So I'm more of a beer drinker. But I notice all these weird drinks that they come up with, these weird names, and I thought, you know, I can invent a drink just like that, but I'm not going to make a real fancy drink. I'm going to make a beer drink. So I asked the bartender for a Pabst Blue Ribbon draft and a shot of Smirnoff vodka. So he gave me the draft beer, gave me the Smirnoff. I dumped the vodka into the beer, and he says, "You know, I've never seen anything like that before." I said, "I know, it's a new invention. I just invented this drink." He said, "Well, what do you call it?" I call it the Pap Smear. Anyway, you're killing me. You're killing me. I walked into a bar one time. when I was younger, and I walked in, I had to use the restroom, so I walked into the restroom, and I saw a guy over there standing next to a condom machine. So as I got closer to him, he looks at me and says, "You know, this gum has no flavor." Anyway, I don't know if 15 minutes is up yet, but I can go on forever. I was sitting at home one day, and I heard a knock at the door. So I go to the door, I open it up, and there's a snail down on the threshold. So I look down, pick up the snail, and I toss him across the street. I go back in. 6 months later, I heard a knock at the door. I walk up to the door, open it up, and the snail's down there saying, "What was that all about?"
She didn't get it.
You'll get it tonight. There was these two guys, and they met in a park, and they had two dogs with them. They struck up a conversation, and as they were talking, they were talking about their dogs and oh how cute and everything. And one guy says, "Let's go across the street to that bar and have a drink. I'll buy you a beer. We'll continue our conversation." So they said, "Okay, but they won't let us in that bar with dogs." And one guy says, "Sure they will. You just follow my lead, but hang back about 5 minutes. So when I get in there, you come later." Okay. So the first guy gets up there, goes to the door. The guy at the door says, "I'm sorry, sir, you cannot come in with that dog. But that's my CNI dog." "Oh, in that case, come on in." So 5 minutes later, the other guy walks up to the door, opens the door, and the guy at the door says, "I'm sorry, sir, you can't come in with that dog." And he says, "Well, that's my CNI dog." The guy says, "That's no CNI dog, that's a Chihuahua." He says, "What, they gave me a Chihuahua?"
That's Richard Larson, everyone.
I guess my time is up, folks.
You know, it took me 4 weeks to get him on the stage, and now I can't shut him up. And by the way, after that performance, I will never be allowed to do another guest talent show. What do you think, judges?